Hello everyone, Tanje here, and welcome to Sereniteapot Video Editing Masterclass. You're probably thinking, wow, they've really cranked up the hype machine for this one, and that pressured me to deliver something that you deserve. But don't worry, this won't be like those boring classes where you fall asleep halfway through. No, this will be the kind of class where you fall asleep right at the beginning. Kidding. But in all seriousness, I hope by the end of this masterclass, your brain will be so full of knowledge, you'll start storing information in your elbows. So, get ready to learn and most importantly, have fun. And feel free to ask questions after this video, but remember, the only silly question is the one not asked, okay? So, let's get started. Filmora is a versatile editing software that is great for both beginners and advanced users. It is user-friendly and comes with a wide range of features that can help you create professional quality videos. When you first open Filmora, you'll see a simple interface with a timeline at the bottom, a preview window on the right, and your media, effects, transitions, and other tools on the left. Here are some basics. Click on the import button to add your videos, photos, and audio files. You can drag and drop them onto the timeline to start editing. Filmora offers tools like trim, split, crop, and rotate. You can also adjust the speed of your clips, play them in reverse, and more. Filmora comes with a library of effects and transitions that you can drag and drop into your clips. There are options for text, filters, overlays, and more. You can add music or sound effects, adjust the volume, and even use the built-in audio mixer. Once you're happy with your edits, you can export your video in a variety of formats. Filmora also has options to directly upload your video to YouTube or Vimeo. So, don't be afraid to experiment with different tools and effects.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Okay, so for this tutorial, we will be learning how to move a train. Because how you won't let us. Or move anything. It depends on you, but today it'll be a light-speed train. Here are the first few things to consider before shooting the scene. First and foremost, you have to create a replica of the build which includes the train for backup purposes, because we will be moving it on the second cut. The train or the certain object that you want to move is advisable to be in a set. It is so you can easily take it out. Make sure the angle captures the whole train. The path where the train will be going should be clear. Nighttime or realms with fixed daylight are easier to shoot to avoid shifting of lights and shadows. After you're done shooting the scene with the train, we got no choice but to exit this camera view to proceed with the second scene without the train. But before that, you might want to take a still shot of it, remember the time, settings, and the exact frame position before exiting. What I did was put a marker to a certain reference like this house, but on my case, I sticked a masking tape on my screen to where I want to have a reference point. For example, this house over here, then the platform on the lower left, and lastly, this bench right here on the right side. I know, this looks kinda primitive, but this might be the only way to get a very close shot of the first scene. By the way, to those who say I need to touch grass, there is no need because I got grass right here. It's fake though. Alright, once you're done taking out the train set, you can now adjust and set the time the same as the first scene. Angle the camera until it matches all the markings you made earlier, then it's good for filming. When you match the first and second scene, it won't be 100% match and perfect, but it should be close enough. And this is when you just have to trust the process. We will be dissecting this certain scene one by one, so I need you to be patient with me, okay? Let's go. Alright, starting off with layer 1, these are composed of 3 clips. The first 2 clips are the scene with the train in it, while the second cut is without the train. And the third scene is the portal, which is just divided into 2 parts. This is where transitions play a big part for these certain scenes. For these parts, we are using Flash for the transition, and this is how it would look like. I use the Flash transition because this one's perfect to somehow conceal the slight difference of these 2 clips. You see, the Flash kinda resets the viewer's vision of what's the previous and the next cut. You'll see here how it smoothly transitioned from with the train to no train. Okay, so the second bit, which is the portal scene, was cut into 2. It is to set the transition of the magic trail going inside the portal. For layer 2, we will now be putting the glowing train in the magic portal. But before that, we need to create first a cutout of the train and make it glow using Photoshop. For this bit, all you gotta do is make the train cutout white by adjusting the lightness to max. Then to make it glow, you'll have to activate it on blending option. Adjust the level of glow from these settings as shown. For the glowing train, we must make 2 versions of it. Number 1, which is on stationary mode, that we already made, and second, that is moving. Alright, so first, duplicate the stationary glowing train to another layer, then we will make the duplicate look like it's moving. And to do that, we have to apply a motion blur from Filter, Blur, then Motion Blur. You'll have to match the blur direction angle to where the train is going. Then, adjust the blur intensity from this bar, and it depends on your preference. It could also be something that matches the speed of what's moving, but in this case, I choose 100. When you're done, save these 2 variations into PNG. Adding this photo should be simple as the photo we took is also the exact video we filmed. Try to fit this first glowing stationary train on the cut where the train is still present. The second moving train that glows will be inserted to the scene with no train. Note that this will also be the scene where the train moves, and that needs a little help with keyframing. Keyframing plays a very important role in this whole scene. Here's the quick basics on how keyframing works on Filmora. Okay, so let's put the sample clip on this small space right here. Okay, so we will be using train glow number 2 for this one. Resize and place the image on your desired position, and once you're okay with the placement of the image, click the clip on the timeline and place the playhead to the start of the clip. Then, hover to this icon, which is the keyframing. When you click the keyframing button, it will automatically place a mark on your clip, and that indicates the starting point of your object. Next, move the playhead to your desired time frame where you want the object to end. Drag the object to the playback screen to the last position. Okay, for example, the object will just end right here. You'll see an arrow pointing towards another marker that is automatically created. These 2 markers are basically the starting and the end point. The farther they are together, the slower the speed of the movement. Let's try moving the end marker a bit closer to the starting point. Now it's faster. Let's adjust it further to our desired speed, which is much closer to the starting point. Since we positioned it only until this area, the rest of the clip will only play until that part. Of course, we wanted the glowing train out of the frame, and to do that, just click the end marker, then drag the object again from the playback screen until it's out of the frame. Once you're happy with this, you can then remove the excess clip by right-clicking and selecting Trim End to Playhead. Stitching the glowing train. For transitions, we use Dissolve to slowly transform the train into its glowing state. Then, the second cut also used the dissolve transition to transform the stationary glow into motion blurred version, and the third cut we used the flash transition to give that effect as the train zooms in high speed. Okay, so moving forward to the portal. Before anything else, these certain effects can be found anywhere on YouTube. You can type in the search bar, for example, Magic Aura Overlays, and you will see an array of different overlays to choose from. But this particular one is named Energy Balls, so when you downloaded the certain videos, it usually have a clean black background. And when choosing certain effects like this one, the effects should not exceed beyond the frame border. It is so the edges of the certain video will not show. When laying this video effect over your scene, you got to resize it first on the desired size of the portal you wanted, and then double-click the overlaid video to open the video settings. Go to Composing, then on Blending Mode, change from Normal to Screen to remove the black background. And that's it! Easy peasy. Well, that was a bit exhausting. Alright, so can we take a very short break and I'll just go drink some water and I'll be back in a bit.
According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale. We now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale. The judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale.
You switched the video. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry about this. Hold on. Can I have my please? Thank you. Thank you very much. We're having a class here soon. Okay, so anyway, let's now proceed to the succeeding layers. Okay, so we will discuss layers 3 and 4 together since the following effects need to be overlapped. Now that we tackled the hard part of creating this certain scene, we will now focus on inserting additional effects to level up the cinematics, and that is by adding lens flares. These lens flares will appear on different areas of the train which represent a strong source of light coming from the glow of the train. So here I'm just gonna show you where I put all the lens flares. The first two is at the top part of the train, the second one being a bit delayed but will be simultaneously visible with the first lens flare. That is why we placed it on layer 4, and the third lens flare will be at the tail of the train, which is not very visible but it's there. Okay, so on layer 3 after the train departed, you might notice that there's a magic trail that is left behind in the scene, and that is another overlay effect which is also downloaded from YouTube. I forgot the exact title of the video, but it's a collection of multiple magic trails and most of this might be very useful in the future use. Anyway, since our train glows in blue, we will be matching the color of this magic trail. And to do that, you just have to double click the clip on the timeline and the video setting will appear on the left pane. Go to the color tab, then select white balance, and from there you can adjust the temperature and tint of your clip. This depends on what certain colors the original video has. You just have to tinker your way to achieve your desired color, which in this case, it's blue. Moving on to the portal scene. So on the previous scene, we saw the magic trail that follows the train, so normally it will also be seen on this certain scene, where it enters the portal. I put a very small dissolved transition to the end of the magic trail, just so that its appearance won't be rough, and additionally, on layer 4, as you've noticed, I also put a big lens flare which indicates that the portal will be closing soon. And by the time the portal closes on layer 3, we inserted another overlay which looks like it dispersed magic particles. At the beginning of the effect, we added the flash transition to also indicate the closing of the portal, and again we used the screen for that to remove the black background. Okay, so we're now adding additional cinematic flares to our scenes, but these flares are already available within the software. The first flare we used is Cinematic Flare 1, which is this dark blue light across the screen. If you still can't see it, here's with and without flare. At the beginning of the flare, we will put a dissolved transition to give it a smooth entrance or appearance. The second bit where the glowing train is ready to move, we then used Cinematic Flare 4, which has this lighter blue, almost cyan light across the screen. And again, here's a comparison of with and without. You see, it added a lot of value to the scene, and it creates this realistic point of view of the person witnessing this scene. Alright, so for the portal scene, of course we will also put a cinematic flare in it. And we used an external effect before, but now we will be adding the cinematic flare 1 to give it a feel that this scene was captured by a real camera by having that moving lens flare. Adding smoke to the scene is a very subtle detail, but it sure adds value to the scene. It may not be noticeable at first, but let me remove some layers first so you can see it properly. Now, these effects are from YouTube, but what I searched was smog instead of smoke, since smoke effects usually goes upwards, while the smog effects I saw gives more of a settled smoke on the ground like that of a fog machine. And that's what we wanted for these certain scenes. And also, make sure that the scene angle matches the angle on your effect video. Okay, so the first smog appeared when the train's charging to zoom out, and that is where we also put a dissolve transition at the beginning of the clip. Since the effect plays in a much slower phase, we adjust the speed of a clip 3 times faster, and to do that, just double click the clip, then go to the speed tab, and adjust the speed you wanted for the clip. To the portal scene, we used a normal speed smog to the first cut, then, as the portal closes, we then cut that same clip and make it 3 times faster. It is to give the presence of a wind force from the dispersed magic particles. Okay, so layer 7 might be one of the important effects for this scene since it highlights the charging speed of the train. These light trails are downloaded from the net, and you can search the keywords like light speed trails overlay or something like that, and pretty much you'll see lots of choices. But naturally, these results only have this straight speed direction, so we may want to modify it according to how our train was angled. Okay, so you need to open Photoshop, open the still image that we saved earlier as reference. Then, get the desired light speed trail image you found on the web, and paste it on the layers. Now, transform the effect to screen, then on your keyboard, use Ctrl-T as a command to resize the layer effect. Adjust the size according to your subject. You might want to extend the trail effect outside the frame. Now, to adjust the perspective of the layer effect, hold the Control key, and that allows you to drag the corners of the image and adjust it according to your desired perspective. When you're okay with the placement, clean the edges on the far right corner where the tail of the train is. Next, we wanted to achieve this rainbow-like Bifrost teleportation thing as guardians use. And to do that, we need at least 3 color variations of this light trail. Okay, so to do that, just duplicate the layer effects, then go to Image, Adjustments, then Hue or Saturation. And from here, you just have to pick a different color combinations from before. Once you're happy with it, duplicate a third one and do the same steps to create another color combo for our light speed trail. When everything's done, save the 3 layer effects separately in PNG format. Inserting it in the timeline should be easy. The light speed trail should appear right after the train lights up in a full glow, and by then the light speed trail should be visible. These 3 variations of light trails will be played until the train departs. And again, to have a smooth transition, use dissolve transition every time the light trail color changes. You can definitely stop on layer 7 honestly, but I really wanted to perfect this certain scene, and I always believe that in a world full of imperfections, be the perfect one. Okay, so anyway, layers 8, 9, and 10 are all about the camera movement, and this mimics the POV of a handheld camera. The shaky movement starts when the counter says 0, and that is when things are getting intense. That is why we put it at a certain time. Okay, so the setting of this first one is set to a frequency of 200, and this effect is called Extreme. You might ask what those positions are. Well, that's basically the movement distance from the starting point And just imagine a three-dimensional Cartesian plane. So the higher the value, the shakier it is. Moving on to the second one on layer 8, this one was set to a lower frequency of 100, but has a higher value of movement. We layered it together with the first one to further add movement to the scene, because this is when the train moves at a very high speed. And lastly, the third shake is the after effect of the train's departure. So this was set on a much lower frequency of 10, but still having the same position value from the second one. And lastly, we have the fourth effect on the last scene where the portal closes. On this case, the shake should start when the flash started. This gives an additional wind impact from the dispersed magic from the portal, and the settings will be the same with the third shake. And finally, the last part of the layers. So basically, layer 10 is just this unstable handheld camera movement, and we wanted to achieve this feel that this is your POV and that you're witnessing everything with your very own eyes. Anyway, the setting is much lower, only having a frequency of 2, because we wanted to make it very subtle, and this whole effect stretches throughout the scenes that we have covered. Okay, so here are the settings I usually use for the positions, and again, this effect can be found under Effects, Video Effects, and under Shake category, it is called Extreme. And that's pretty much it.
Please make sure that your seatbelt is secured fast. To fasten, insert the left side into the bottom and pull the strap tight. To release the belt, just let the top of the belt.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Wow, well, that was quite long, but I hope that the insights and knowledge I've shared in this masterclass have inspired you to level up your editing skills, or better yet, start your own channel. And remember, just keep exploring, keep asking questions, and most importantly, keep practicing. And you've got all the tools and knowledge now. Well, Filmora is not free though, but there are other free editing softwares out there that shares the same principles, and it's up to you to take the next step. And thank you for your engagement and enthusiasm throughout this masterclass. It's been a pleasure teaching you all, and let's stay connected and keep learning together. So yeah, until next time, take care and keep pushing boundaries. Bye everyone.